Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. Great weekend in sports. Coming up on the show, NFL recap, college football recap, NBA weekend, and some pictures were released on the Greg Hardy domestic violence. And Monday Night Football, what do we expect? And all across sports, even a little bit of boxing. And of course, somebody gonna get the really though. Might even happen right here, Texas. No spoilers though.
Little brother B, how was your weekend, my man? Before we get started on this great day of sports.
It was a great weekend.
Got to make some money, take care of some business.
Make some money, took care of business.
Right on.
Got some brisket at the house, some barbecue.
We never go wrong with some barbecue here in the good old Texas. Got to get me some of that, man. The fam, everybody's breathing, everybody's eating, doing good.
Everybody's good.
Most def.
How about your side? What was up?
Oh man, can't complain, man. I got to catch some of them great football games on Saturday. You know, always have baby girl on the weekends. Got to kick with her, going to take her. She doesn't know it yet. I'm going to take her to go see the new Peanuts movie. Got to catch that James Bond. If you ain't got a chance to catch that James Bond, it's an awesome movie. Another James Bond classic. But once again, I can't complain about a good old weekend.
Let's get started in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Some minor shakeups, a lot of injuries. I guess we'll go ahead and just start it off with your Dallas Cowboys.
Oh man, that was a loss.
Losing to the Eagles 33-27 in overtime.
And not to mention that was a win that they really needed to have. And not only did they not need to have it, but it was because of the fact that you were expecting to have Tony Romo back in a couple of weeks, right? And because we're expecting to have him back in a couple of weeks, you just need to get at least a win or two, roll something out, give him something to look forward to when he comes back. As of right now, they've lost every single game that he's been out, 6-game losing streak. And they haven't showed me anything that would indicate that they're going to be better. Okay. They put up some points this time. Last time they didn't put up any points. They've been doing more with the running game. All right. But still, has that accumulated any wins? No. So as of right now, I hit the panic button after they lost to the Giants. I'm full-fledged red alert. Red alert. Cowboys is looking like a top 5, top 10 pick team right now.
We both had the Cowboys winning in our Pick 6 Friday.
Right.
I didn't think all the injuries on defense. Every time you turned around, somebody was injured.
Right.
And by the end of the game, that fast-paced offense, they were just tired.
Right.
And, Byron Jones, who actually had a pretty good game, got burnt on that last play. And
right.
Jordan Matthews took advantage and took it straight to the house in overtime.
You know what I've noticed about our secondary, mainly like our safeties in general, is the bad angles that they take. I've noticed countless times where I've seen Barry Church, even Jones to an extent, take a bad angle and then turn around and get themselves in a position where they can't make the tackle. It's happened one too many times, and it's just like, wow. Until we get like a stud, a good stud defensive back there, like Darren Woodson was back in the day, man, the back end of the secondary is going to continue to look like they look.
Moving on from the Cowboys, Panthers showing some dominance in the NFC maybe over the Green Bay Packers. And Aaron Rodgers kind of I'm not going to say he was completely shut down yesterday, but for the second week in a row, he seemed to be the reason the Packers lost.
You know what? I think what you said that you thought this team was missing is beginning to show. For our first time listeners, if you didn't know, Brian Franklin, the one I call B Frank, the one I call Little Brothers, has said countless times this year is even before they lost at Denver, he said it countless times that he don't know what it is about this team being the Packers, but they're missing something, and not just the obvious. They're missing their number one receiver, but I think for a long time this offense has hid the fact that this defense is still the same as it was last year, and that this defense wasn't exactly the best defense they had last year. It was all on Aaron Rodgers in that offense.
Cam Newton came through.
Right.
Looked like an MVP candidate.
Right.
Can't go too much into it, but do you think Cam Newton deserves the consideration of MVP?
Yes. I don't see why not. He's doing the most with less on offense.
Agreed. Gets the job done. Someone else that does a lot for their team, Tom Brady. Patriots took out the Redskins. Still undefeated.
Is it possible? Is it possible to improve on perfection?
They're still the best team in the NFL?
Yes.
Figured that. Another game that was in our pick six, Rams and the Vikings. I had the Rams winning. It was close. Teddy Bridgewater took a hit.
He was knocked out cold. Like, he was literally asleep. Like, knocked out. Like, we had the smoky joint. We would drop the smoky joint. You got knocked up. Yo, he was knocked out. And I don't blame him. I don't blame the Vikings for being a bit upset. Because, in my opinion, that was a dirty shot. He was clearly going down, sliding, not head first. He was sliding neat, like the way you're supposed to. Baseball sliding down, which means he was giving himself up. And he got laid out. Laid out.
I think the Vikings defense showed something in that game. Handled Todd Gurley in a good way. Condensed them.
Once again, they're tied for the division since the Packers lost.
It will be very interesting if the Vikings can actually compete to win the division or if they'll just be the wild card. Another wild card race in the AFC side. The Raiders played the Steelers, a big game for both to get an edge up.
Right.
The Steelers came away with a 3-point win, but Ben Roethlisberger got hurt. Looks like he's going to be missing a few weeks.
Yeah, sprained foot. And you saw it when it happened. Like, for a while, I was under the impression that he probably had one of those broken bone in his foot, something similar like how Dez had when Alden Smith fell on his ankle the way he did. I was like, oh, man, they might as well say this guy's going for the season, especially when he wasn't able to put any pressure on it at all. He wasn't able to do none of it, but great win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a punch to the gut to the Oakland Raiders, but they still stand a good chance. If it's anything, this should be more of it should uplift them more, in my opinion. Because one thing they do know, this offense can score, and depending on what they get, depending on the Latavius Murray, they can run the ball.
I'm really concerned for their defense. D'Angelo Williams looked like Le'Veon Bell didn't even matter.
Right.
D'Angelo Williams with 170 yards, 2 touchdowns just rushing.
Right.
And then Antonio Brown, who had 284 receiving yards, by the way.
Right.
Just burnt that defense.
Right.
And that's when I realized this Raiders offense is for real. But when you rely on Charles Woodson, who is a great player, Hall of Famer,
Right.
holding it down this season, playing really hard, playing really well, there's some issues. He's really old. He doesn't need to be your best player on defense. He's supposed to be a complimentary player.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned for the Raiders' future chances in that aspect. But with Ben Roethlisberger going down, it opens up the AFC wild card even more. The Jets.
One quick question real quick for you. Would you say the Raiders have turned the corner now?
No. I'm not willing to say that yet because this has happened before where we thought the Raiders turned a corner. Then next 2 years, the team blows up. I mean, Al Davis is no longer there, but still. I got to see it before I can believe it.
Seeing is believing.
The Falcons got shocked by the 49ers, the great Blaine Gabbert.
So is it safe to say Colin Kaepernick's job is done? There's no chance of him getting back in this season?
I know he played one play yesterday, and it was an overthrow.
Wow.
I think his job is done. He'll go somewhere else and get another chance. But with that deal, they're going to have to cut him. They can't pay him that much money.
So he's done 2016. No Colin. No Kaepernicking.
Not in San Francisco. Broncos, Colts. Colts got a 3-point win. Broncos suffered their first loss. Peyton Manning comes up 3 yards short for the all-time passing record.
It's close to getting it in the house that he built. In the house that he built in the town that he's helped put on the map.
Comes off of an interception.
Right. Another horrible interception, but the team that gave themselves the nickname No Fly Zone just got through on. And they just gave it up. Once again, in my opinion, they should get a pass on this, but at the same time, they should get a pass due to the fact that this team had been
they got passed on.
Yeah, because prior to this, they were 7-0, courtesy made in part because of them. Naturally, they lost this game because of them. They had chances to get off the field, and they didn't.
I picked the Colts, by the way, just let everybody know.
Yeah, he
Not
did.
bragging.
He did. He did. He has the right to. Right on. Because I didn't see it coming. I thought he was over there on that dust.
Coming up on the Sports Machine, we're going to get into the college football recap right after this. I'm Brian Franklin with the Sports Machine Daily Sports Ticker. In the NFL yesterday, the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger got injured again, this time suffering a mid-foot sprain. Roethlisberger is expected to be sidelined for a few weeks. Other injuries from yesterday include Deion Lewis, who suffered a left knee injury. It is uncertain how serious it is. And also Eddie Lacy, that now has a growing injury. Also in the NFL yesterday, a previously undefeated team went down. It was the Denver Broncos, who lost to the Indianapolis Colts 27-24. In the NBA, Miami Heat guard Gerald Green was released from the hospital. His stay lasted for 4 days, and the reason is undisclosed. For the NBA scores from yesterday, the Cavaliers edged out the Pacers in a thriller 101-97. The Knicks got a close win over the Lakers 99-95. The Heat dominated the Raptors 96-76. The Thunder blew out the Suns 124-103, and the Pistons took control of the fourth quarter to beat the Trailblazers 120-103. This is Brian Franklin on the Sports Machine with Dean. Just went over the NFL. Time to move it to college. A few surprises in college.
Dare we call it upset weekend?
Michigan State getting taken down by Nebraska.
Right.
Questionable fashion. Very questionable. Extremely
Right.
questionable. I mean, so heated that me and you got in an argument over it.
Right.
I mean, I agree the call was wrong. He was not forced out. But you never know what would happen because Michigan State still had a chance to win after that. They drove the ball down. They got to about the 40-yard line, I believe.
Right.
And the quarterback held the ball for like 12 seconds on the last play and then threw it out of bounds.
Right. But do you still blame Michigan State for having themselves in that position that they've been in all season?
Yes.
Right. I agree. I agree with that
Michigan
too.
State owned up to, shout out to Michigan State for not making excuses. They could have went all anti-officials.
Right.
But they took, they're blaming the loss.
Right.
As they should.
Because they've played a lot of close games like this, and they've come out on top via Michigan and the punt. But once again, like I said before, they owned up to it, and hey, do nothing but salute them. Salute to them.
I guess we'll go ahead with Clemson and Florida State. I had Clemson.
Right. And
it was a close game.
Right.
A little bit closer than I thought it was going to be.
And they ran away with, and then they ran away with it at the last minute. And I mean, second play of the game, Duke Johnson. I mean, not Duke Johnson, Jesus. Duke Johnson playing. Ain't he playing with Cleveland right now? But my boy, he breaks it for almost 90 yards on the second play from scrimmage. And I'm looking at the game like, there we go. But once again, big ups to Clemson for playing like the number one team in the country right now.
I believe they already clinched their spot in the ACC title game.
Right.
Another team that, I'm not going to say shocked me. I'm not surprised Alabama beat LSU. I'm surprised in the fashion in which they beat LSU. It was not close. Alabama ran on the boys.
Once again, what I noticed was how they just, every time Leonard Fournette couldn't get going, every time he tried to run, it was already 2 defenders in the backfield by the time the ball was being handed off to him. Like, that was the importance of stopping Leonard Fournette. Like, he was their key guy. They knew if they stopped him and didn't let him get going at all, the game was theirs. And once again, big up to Bama, who played like they deserved to be in the top 4.
Derrick Henry ran for 210 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Could he possibly be making a Heisman bid? Could he? Some people spout that out there. I'm not spouting it.
Say it again. Say something else. Oh! Say something else. Say something else.
Let's not just forget what Leonard Fournette has done all season.
Right.
No offense to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a very good running back. He's an Alabama running back, though, so when he comes up in the NFL draft, nobody be shocked if he busts.
Would you, as far as the top running backs go, I know Leonard Fournette is your 1. Ezekiel Elliott is your number 2?
Yes.
And then,
Dalvin Cook.
okay.
And Dalvin Cook is probably pretty close with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Then it would be Derrick Henry.
Okay.
I like Derrick Henry's game.
Right.
And shout out to Jake Coker, who just game managed, which is what they need him to do.
Right.
Also in college, there was another. I'm not going to say. People have been calling this a big upset. But when you're the number 14th ranked team in the country, I feel like it should. And you're at home, it shouldn't be a big upset to be number 8 at TCU. Oklahoma State did win the game 49-29.
Right.
Josh Doxson went down in the second quarter.
Right.
And I bet you know who this week's gift basket is.
Here comes Santa Claus.
Trayvon Boykin.
You say it was great joy. I wish y'all could see the smile on his face right now.
I like Trayvon Boykin.
He has a lot of glee in him right now.
But
Filled with it at that.
that game proved why Josh Doxson means more to TCU than Trayvon Boykin does.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong, because in this situation you're right. Like, I have no choice but to say that, because all of those true freshman receivers that Trayvon was trying to throw to, they was looking like a deer in the headlights. Like, they was lost. Like, that game was such a big game that you could see that these guys who were just playing in high school last season were just, they didn't know what else to do. And Trayvon was stuck trying to win the whole game by himself. And unfortunately, hey, I mean, it doesn't always work out that way. But once again, big ups to Oklahoma State, who I've been sleeping on. I'd always felt like that, especially after last week, after they came from behind to beat Texas Tech, after allowing Texas Tech to jump on them so early, I felt like that, hey, they were just a third team in as well. But once again, big up to Oklahoma State playing good football.
Shout out to James Washington, who had a big game
Most definitely.
Saturday. 5 receptions, 184 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's kind of been slept on because of Josh Doxson,
Right.
Corey Coleman. Both of these great receivers are in the Big 12.
Right.
And he's had a very good season as a sophomore.
Right.
So, big ups to him. Oklahoma State deserved to win the game. It was not close. It
Most
was
definitely.
really not in doubt.
Right.
Because even when Josh Doxson went down, TCU was still losing.
Right.
Also, number 13, Memphis. Lost to Navy.
Yeah. The option killed them. But once again, we're talking about a basketball school that was in at the moment in time until at least the next playoff rankings come out. We're talking about a team that was in the top 15. And deservedly so, but once again,
Going against schools like Navy, any military school, because I was mentioned this to me.
right.
Almost every military school can run the ball.
Most definitely.
So, and Navy brings a different twist to that with their option. Kind of
Right.
like Georgia Tech, even if they're not just extremely good that year. Navy is really good this year, undefeated in the conference. They might
Right.
just win that conference.
Right.
That facing that type of offense kind of sends a shock to your defense, even if you have practice against it. Because
Right.
no scout offense can do what they do as naturally as they do it. Another thing that happened this weekend in college, I kind of want to ask you, did you see the way Arkansas beat Ole Miss?
Oh man, like you want to talk about that's a loss like that is I wouldn't blame a guy for having tears in his eyes and almost ready to cry. You go out there and you play a game that hard, only to have it. Let's call it what it is, a fluke throwback. It was illegal. It was a legal throwback, a legal one. But to have it just tossed back and forth, it was a prayer that was answered, and then
That wasn't even a touchdown. That was the funniest. Overtime, fourth down, if you didn't
Right.
see it. It was like 4th and 20. It
right,
was a really long fourth down. He throws a pass short to the tight end. Tight end comes up short, but instead of going down, smartly throws the ball backwards into a crowd.
right,
Ole Miss player touches it, bounces off his hands. It just happens to get in Arkansas's running back's hands, I believe.
Right.
And he just busted to the left and gets
get some
20
good blocks.
yards
Good blocks at that. Get
for
the
a first
final.
down. Then they score a touchdown. Then on the 2-point play, Ole Miss sacks the quarterback, but there's a face mask, so they get another 2-point conversion play. And with the 2-point conversion, they completed with the quarterback running in for a touchdown to
Exactly.
win the game 53-52.
And the thing was, Ole Miss was in the driver's seat. And I remember watching that game saying, thanks a lot, Ole Miss. Thanks a lot. Because they were in the driver's seat. They would have owned the tiebreaker, seeing as how they beat Alabama. All Ole Miss had to do was win out. They was in the driver's seat to play off in the SEC championship game. But hey, when it falls, when luck hits you, it hits you, and when it don't want you, it don't want you. Lady Luck, she's cruel at times.
Changing gears a little bit, a lot of it, going from football, NFL, college recap. There was another sport that had a big weekend. Moving to the NBA. Some interesting game went down Saturday. I kind of wanted to get off into the Rockets on Saturday played the Clippers in LA. Won 109 to 105. Very close game. James Harden decides he's going to go off for 46. And then Blake Griffin decides he's going to go off for 35.
Man,
I didn't get to watch this game, but I watched it on replay.
uh-huh.
I don't like Houston, but James Harden was a beast that game.
So much for the base guy and this curse, right?
Shout out to Lil B.
So much for the curse of Lil B. They can keep that.
Yesterday, Cavaliers barely got that win over the Pacers. Shout out to Paul George. 32 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, trying to bring Indiana back into relativity. After that injury, it's good to see that he can still perform the way he performs.
Did you see that tribute to the with the uniforms they had on?
I didn't like it.
I didn't either. I was looking at those uniforms I was like, man, this looked like a high school team that, like, they have no money in their school's account, and they just threw that together. And they was like, well, it's a tribute to the Indiana. I was like, so what? That doesn't make it any better.
It was from a movie.
I know
The Hoosiers. And
Yeah,
that school doesn't actually exist.
I know, right? And I was like, wow, and y'all thought it would be cool to dress this whole team like this.
Whoever taught Paul George into wearing that because Paul George said he supported it. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I believe behind closed doors he was saying some things about them jerseys.
Ah, man.
It was not good. It's not a good look, Indiana. Don't do it again.
Ever.
Yesterday, another interesting thing I saw on NBA. The Pistons and Trailblazers having a close game. It's welcome competition. Pistons go into the fourth quarter losing by a decent amount.
Right.
Yet somehow they win 120 to 103. I look at the box score. Fourth quarter, Detroit Pistons outscored the Trailblazers 41 to 11. 41 to 11. How do you lose a quarter that badly?
Tell you how? By straight quitting, straight taking it, just saying, you know what, we don't care no more. We're good.
23 turnovers by the Trailblazers.
We'll get him next time, coach.
9 turnovers by the Pistons.
That's how it started.
Quick question. What's more impressive? Reggie Jackson, who dropped 40 points, very impressive. 26 in the fourth quarter. Carry him through that fourth quarter, get him the W. Or Andre Drummond, who scores 29 points but has 27 rebounds.
I have to go with Andre Drummond. Mainly because of the fact that he's been doing this consistently. If Reggie Jackson consistently puts up 40 points, he'll get my nod. But so long as you have a guy out there averaging 19 rebounds a game, he's averaging a double-double.
Oh, he's well over a double-double at this point. I'm putting it right now. If we had a quick 10-game MVP, it's Andre Drummond. I don't care who you, Steph Curry, throw anybody out there. I'm taking Andre Drummond because he's averaging 19 rebounds a game and 18.6 points per game. That's unreal.
So basically he's almost averaging 19 to 19 a game.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
But people, he doesn't score all the points, so.
Right. But once again, you can do something with a dominant guy on the inside. When you playing against the Golden State Warriors and teams like that like to get up and down the court on you, sometimes being able to slow the game down by having a big guy like him who can drop it in and get you those points on the inside, those much needed points on the inside, can help you out a lot.
To the people that want to discount the Detroit Pistons, it's just the beginning of the season. This doesn't mean anything until the playoffs. I want you to think about matchups because that's what matters in basketball. Atlanta Hawks, who they have at center. Al Horford, who is a power forward. Cleveland Cavaliers, who they have at center. Most of the Eastern team's weakness is who they have in the middle, and then that just happens to be Detroit Pistons' advantage.
Right.
We saw this a few years ago with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Right.
Twin Towers. Mm-hmm. They took out the Spurs because that was a Spurs weakness. Don't sleep on the Detroit Pistons just because of the Detroit Pistons.
Barring injury, you see this team making some noise in the playoffs?
Yes.
Most definitely.
I think they definitely make it past the first round. They've already proven that to me through 6 games, and maybe I'm overreacting. Fully possible.
It's hard to overreact when you know you got a big man down there averaging 19. We haven't seen that since forever.
I just believe that the major reason is you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, I haven't seen anything out of these teams to make me believe that they're unbeatable.
Right.
I understand the Cavaliers, when they get their full team, the Kyrie, you act like the Kyrie coming back in is just going to be perfect.
No.
Guess what? Kevin Love's going to get less touches. Shout out to my brother because he came up with this. They call him I get buckets, not I get assists.
Straight like that.
He likes the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
The only team left undefeated in the NBA after the weekend is the Golden State Warriors.
Not surprised because the whole talk of them winning the championship because LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers wasn't healthy. You just threw ether already on a bonfire.
They're averaging 115.7 points per game, and average differential is plus 18.3.
God.
They're averaging beating people by 18.3 points, which was helped by the 50-point win against Memphis, but that's still impressive.
Right. That's what happens when you give a team that kind of fire. You give a guy that kind of fire. And they released it out the early part of the season, like just before they was getting ready to get their rings and their banners and everything. Oh, well, everybody seems to feel like you guys made it through because a lot of teams was injured at the time. And you guys had a full team. Like you said before, it's not his fault that they were healthy.
Stephen Curry, who this year has been amazing, especially when it comes to scoring the ball.
Right.
Definitely probably the MVP of the league right now, even though all the talk about I just gave Andre Drummond. Mm-hmm. I would still take Andre Drummond because of everything he gives to the team and the fact that he's so important to the team.
Right.
Are we going to see Stephen Curry take a league takeover the way LeBron did? Or is that a little too much?
Once again, it's not too much. Because, once again, the only person who can stop Stephen Curry is if he's having a bad shooting night. Oh, God knows. Don't nobody want to see him when he's having a great shooting night. I think if he's having one of those great shooting nights, you've heard me say it before, you'll probably play the beat, the song, the little clip to it. I think he could beat Kobe Bryant's record of 81 points on a good night, on a great night.
Say something else. Oh! Say something else. Say something else.
I don't understand.
I'm serious, man. The way this guy shoots the basketball, the way this guy scores the basketball, It's no different way how Kobe was playing that night when he was playing against Toronto.
81 though.
It's possible.
I don't think it's possible because if he's scoring 81, they're gonna be blowing out the team so bad it's gonna get sacked by the second quarter.
Which then he should look at he should look at Steve Kerr and say, man, I want this record, bro. Straight up.
Listened to a song recently with Pusha T in it. He said, "The fish outgrew the pond the fish played in."
Yep.
It's like blowing somebody out, but the starter just want to stay in. The teams that still have not won a game, the Brooklyn Nets,
Not surprised. They having a fire sale. I think the owner's even trying to sell it.
the Philadelphia Tanks. I will not
Also
call them
known
this.
as the 76ers.
I refuse to call them that until they win a game. And I might not even call them that. I don't even know why I said I'm not going to call them that. I'm not going to call them the 76ers. They're tanking every single year. Until they make the playoffs next, they're going to be called the Tanks. New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, winless.
All that
so
talk.
much yeah, man, I was about to say that. You stole it right out of my mouth. So much high hope on this team. Anthony Davis may be the league's MVP. Watch out for the Pelicans. They're gonna make things happen in the West this year.
I think people forget the fact that they didn't really improve their roster at all. They're just assuming Anthony Davis is going to get better and better and better and better. Might want to add some pieces around him,
Exactly. So it is a team sport.
contrary to popular belief.
True story.
Coming up, some very serious things happened over the weekend. A lot of serious talks. Greg Hardy, get our take on it up next.
Your Sports Machine News Update is being brought to you by the Soul Society Studios. The Los Angeles Lakers star future Hall of Famer Kobe Bryant has admitted there are times when he's questioned whether he wants to continue playing basketball. Quote, "If you ask me today, this would be my last year, but you never know." Close quote. Bryant, who is in the final year of his deal with the Lakers, is not considering playing for any other teams. In Columbia, Missouri, student protests over racial incidents at the University of Missouri escalated over the weekend, when at least 30 black football players announced they would not participate in team activities until the university systems president is removed. Running back Reggie Bush, who suffered a season-ending and potentially career-threatening knee injury after slipping on concrete surrounding the field in St. Louis, has procured legal representation and plans on suing the city of St. Louis over the matter. The Big Ten said Sunday that on-field officials and replay officials properly handled the ruling on Nebraska's game-winning touchdown in the Cornhuskers' 39-38 victory over Michigan State on Saturday. Cornhuskers wide receiver Brandon Riley was forced out of bounds by Michigan State cornerback Jermaine Edmondson. This was your Sports Machine News Update. I am the Waylon Dean. We have the Greg Hardy incident coming up for you next on the Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the NFL recap, college football recap, and of course the NBA weekend. Time to get into the serious thing that happened over the weekend. Greg Hardy, as many know, was involved in the domestic violence. Believe happened about a year and a half ago. Got suspended. Got the suspension dwindled down a little bit. Recently, somehow Deadspin
Right.
got some photos, released them, and now the world of sports has changed forever.
You know, I don't know why everyone needed pictures to change their mind on how bad domestic violence is. You read the report. You read the police report of what happened. Greg Hardy picking her up above her head, throwing her in the restroom. She even admitted to being choked so bad to the point to where the moment he lessened his grip around her throat, she actually begged for death because she was ready for, in her words, she was ready to die. She was convinced that she was gonna die. She just wanted to be over with.
I would like to add in real quick. Everything you're saying right now was pre-pictures. This was all in the police report.
Right.
So, AKA, this information
It's not new.
was accessible during all this time.
Mm-hmm.
You can continue.
And not only did she admit to saying that, but also the league, everybody, like I said, had access to this police report. Once again, Greg Hardy was going to be put on trial. He was being put on trial for this. She chose not to cooperate with the courthouse pending some things happen outside the court, whether it's a payoff or anything like that.
Cannot confirm nor deny any allegations at this point in time.
Exactly. It was speculated that, the victim, Nicole Holder, she stopped cooperating with the courts, the police, so therefore they had to drop the case. When they dropped the case, it meant that Greg Hardy's record, this would be expunged from his permanent record, meaning that this didn't happen. The pictures as of lately, once again, this is almost a year and a half lately. These pictures that has surfaced courtesy of Deadspin has kind of, over the weekend, kind of set everyone back on fire about the league and domestic violence. I've heard some people even say this guy shouldn't even be playing on the field. Shouldn't be out there. Shouldn't be allowed on no one's team.
Should be cut from the league. Suspended the rest of his life.
Right. And once again, I commend Jerry Jones. He's been taking a lot of heat for this. I may take a lot of heat for this. But we are supposed to be a second chance society. Once again, this guy, he wasn't convicted. We already knew what he done wrong. Most recently, prior to this, he just came out on Twitter and said that, hey man, he gave his sympathies. He didn't, he apologized about it in his own way. I feel like everybody wanted Greg Hardy to react the way they wanted him to react. But at the same time, he is his own man. If he didn't want to discuss this or talk, because let's be for real, we haven't heard nobody's side of the story. Not Nicole Holder's side of it, not even Greg Hardy's side of it. All we heard was what the police report, said, and what the victim had said told the police at that moment in time. And the pictures just kind of confirming it. But once again, we don't know what truly happened.
For the people out there who know me personally, you already know. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to mean what I say. I'm not going to apologize for what I say. Y'all know how I feel about domestic violence. Men's hands shouldn't belong on women.
Right.
That's what I believe. I believe Greg Hardy was wrong for what he did.
Most definitely.
But the fact that people in the sports community, don't need to say any names, you can find it. Information is very accessible. If you want to see what people's opinions are, just Google Greg Hardy domestic violence. It'll pop up all over the place, every single sports personality's opinion on them.
Right.
These people, most of them who spoke publicly, want Greg Hardy out of the league. Where was this opinion when the Cowboys signed him in the first place? Some people had it. And when it comes to that, me and that whoever that particular person is, we just having to differ on the opinion. I can accept that.
Right.
But for all the people out there that decide they're going to change their minds after some photos, I would like to ask you the question, what did you think domestic violence was before those?
Right.
Did you not see the Ray Rice video?
Right.
For all those that were knowledgeable on domestic violence and all it entails?
Right.
If it's a domestic violence, it's serious.
Right.
These bruises do happen on people.
Sometimes worse than that.
Don't want to offend all the people that are going out against Greg Hardy that changed their minds. You are more welcome to change your mind. To me, the fact that you changed your mind over some pictures pleads ignorance. You're just pleading ignorance, out of sight, out of mind. AKA, you didn't want to know what Greg
Right.
Hardy did.
Right.
You didn't want to know. You didn't want to know the truth. You didn't want to know all that entailed in that domestic violence dispute. You just put it out of sight, out of mind. You didn't have to see it. But now that you've seen it, you can no longer do that. You now have to come out against Greg Hardy because you don't want to be seen as a domestic violence supporter.
Right.
I'm not defending Greg Hardy. What he did was wrong. He needs to be held accountable. But guess what? That's not for me. That's not for you. That's for the justice system to do. And if we have a problem, we need to take our problem to the justice system. Hey,
Right.
why didn't this investigation go through?
Right.
Did you really need the the victim in this situation to come to the courthouse to confirm that he did this?
Right.
Everything the police report says he did it.
Right.
AK, he's guilty and he should be charged.
Right.
Go to the justice system. The NFL is not our justice system, nor does it set our moral compass
Right.
of what we believe.
Right.
I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, nor am I a fan of just Greg Hardy. I believe Greg Hardy is a really good player.
Right.
If he is a free man, the justice system did not take him to jail. We have a problem, we take it to them. But if he is a free man, he has a right to pursue happiness, to
Right.
try to make a living.
Right.
People that want him out of the league, what do you want to do? What do you want Greg Hardy to do the rest of his life? You want to be homeless? You want to force him into a corner? If this is what he does when he has everything, what's he going to do when he has nothing?
Exactly.
You didn't want to know what domestic violence was.
That's the case. There's plenty of videos, plenty of websites, plenty of help websites, everything that shows the effects of domestic violence.
He needs to be cut now because of the pictures. What? If he was going to be cut, he should have been cut from the beginning. If he's
Right.
going to be suspended from the beginning.
If he was going to be out of the league, you might as well ban him from the league from the beginning.
Everything was accessible in the police report. Just the pictures weren't.
Right.
I thought people learned from Ray Rice. They heard domestic violence.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking then. Apparently, they didn't think it was that bad. They saw the video and just flipped out.
Right.
This is what domestic violence is. You hear a domestic violence case. This is what it entails. You have to assume that it entails all of this.
Right.
This violence.
Right.
These repercussions.
Right.
We need to stop getting on the NFL, Jerry Jones, and the Cowboys, and even Greg Hardy himself for this, and start getting on the justice system. Why isn't this being taken care of correctly?
Right.
Why is it that people feel it's okay to do this? Why aren't we educating younger people how you should truly treat a woman?
Right.
Why aren't we educating grown men who thinks it's okay how to treat a woman, why it's not okay?
Right.
But instead, we just want to cut him from the team, out of sight, out of mind again. You're not fixing the problem. You're not fixing Greg Hardy
No.
by kicking him out of the league. If anything, you're probably making it worse.
Exactly. Going to put him in a situation that he shouldn't be in. He already put himself in that situation a year and a half ago. You know, for me, I feel for Nicole Holder and her family because this has been a year later, B. This has been a year later, and a year and a half later almost, and now someone, Deadspin, I'm pretty sure, won't say that I'm for sure, but they paid to get these photos, got these photos and released these photos. Now, if her family, anybody who's connected to Nicole Holder, all this weekend they've seen nothing but pictures of someone that they love and hold dear to them go through what that person went through that night. They've even released the tape, like the 911 call tape. The person who called in. They've even released that. And I say to myself again, how are we exactly helping the victim in this situation? They say we're raising awareness. Awareness is already out there. You've just made it, in my opinion, a step that much more difficult for this family to move forward because now they're reliving something that they just wanted to get past. Only way they're going to get past this is if they move out the country or something for a while.
On last note, just a word out to the people. This issue is an issue that needs to be fixed, not to be pushed out of sight, out of mind, where we don't have to think about it. Coming up on a sports machine, around the world of sports, is it okay to tank? And a little bit of boxing right here on a sports machine. Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the NFL recap, college football recap, NBA weekend, the Greg Hardy issue, and domestic violence. It's time to go around the world of sports real quick. Monday Night Football. Bears, Chargers. Both teams sending 2 wins. Could be a close game. Could be actually a really good game.
Right.
I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I'm decked out in Chicago Bears gear right now.
Most definitely. Chicago, hat Chicago, hoodie Chicago. He even got some B. Franks decked out Chicago colors. When we say B. Franks, that means he's created his own Nikes. So we call them BF1s, BF2s, whatever edition he got. And please believe me, he's got enough of them, more than I can count on both hands. Almost $200 or $300 a pair of shoe. This man don't play about his shoes.
Moving on. Should be a close game. But as a Bears fan I am rooting for San Diego to win this game. We can't have the Chargers having 2 wins and Bears having 3 wins. That'd ruin our draft stock.
I may be on that bandwagon with you with my Cowboys. Well, I'll wait till Tony Romo get back. We lost 6 straight. Hey, let's see if we can set a record. Let's go 2-14. Let's get a top 5. Let's trade it out. Potentially get a backup quarterback who we can, pick up in a late round someplace and train him after Tony Romo leave and see what he got.
As fans, I want to hear y'all's opinion. Do you think it's okay to tank? I personally believe it would be great because the Bears are terrible on defense. Just lost Matt Forte.
Yep.
I hope Jeremy Lamford goes out there and does what he does from Michigan State. He's a good running back.
Mm-hmm.
I like our outside weapons. I like the running back situation. I don't have a huge problem with Jay Cutler. Offensive line's terrible. Defense is terrible. Why not get a top pick to help fix that problem?
Right.
Don't be the Charlotte Hornets. No offense to Charlotte Hornets, but they're always in the middle. They never get a top 5 pick.
Right. I have to say what Chicago, they score about 20 points a game, as well as San Diego scores over a little bit, about 24 points a game, but they both allow 28 points a game.
I think it's going to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want the Bears to win. Never thought I'd say that. I just recently came on to the team tank.
Yep.
As long as you're not doing it every year like the Philadelphia Tanks. You have
Better
a
known as
2
the
years.
76ers.
You have 2 years to fix your problem by tanking. After that, you start being called the Tanks. Don't blame it on injury either. I'm not trying to hear that.
Alshon Jeffrey goes off to have a big game.
I hope so.
Right now, he has 23 receptions, 341 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Very injury-plagued season.
Right. So his numbers is a bit low compared to what he was doing last season. Then again, last season he did have Brandon Marsh on the side.
I believe Alshon Jeffrey could put up them numbers. If he wasn't injured at the beginning of the season, I think he would be right up there with the top receivers.
But hasn't that been like a tale with him, even through college when he was at South Carolina? It's not the most healthy of not the most healthiest of receivers.
He is not. I heard a rumor that the Bears were thinking about trading him at the trade deadline. Thank you. You didn't.
Right.
Because this guy is for real.
Right.
When he is on the field, he's gonna put it on.
Right. Not to mention they also lost their first round pick receiver.
Kevin White.
Yeah. I almost called him Pat. My bad.
Pat was a quarterback.
Yeah, Pat White. I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, but yeah. But yeah, Kevin White. I mean, be good to see what those guys can do next year.
I think it's okay to tank. I believe it's a good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other people don't agree. They think that's against sports ethics. I don't know. Never had those. let's move it over to boxing.
Yes, sir.
Boy, Timothy Bradley, who I think beat Pacquiao one time, and it was one time he got the loss for.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and he dominated
With
Brandon Rios.
Yes. A guy who's hard to knock out. Knocked him out with the body shot, as a matter of fact, B. With a plethora of body shots, to be exact. He gets him in the 9th round. First knockdown was a solid body shot. Like a hook to the solar plexus. Like an uppercut. Right to the solar plexus. He instantly hears, in the words of Bradley, and quote, I heard him groan. I started throwing some more of them. He went down. Got back up. Natural to say, if you've ever taken a shot to the solar plexus, to the stomach,
It's not good.
it's not good. You just don't recover from a shot like that immediately. And Timothy Bradley has a killer instinct. They don't call him Desert Storm for nothing. Rios gets back up. Goes right back to the body of Rios. Rios takes another knee. The ref steps in. Stops it. It was a great fight. It was a great turnout for Timothy Bradley. With new trainer Teddy Atlas, ESPN's own, when he was running Friday Night Fights on ESPN. From time to time, he announces on PBC on ESPN. A great show out for him. He has confirmed that he will be back with Timothy Bradley for his next fight. Timothy Bradley had a great showing of just skill, from not being hit, from rolling the shoulders, just doing a little bit of something different from compared to what he had been doing.
I think he improved his defense.
Most definitely. And let's be for real. Once again, I say that because Brandon Rios is not an easy guy to knock out. He'll take your best shot and keep right on walking towards you. And Timothy Bradley is not known as a knockout artist. So I think that is a compliment to what Teddy Atlas has trained him over the past couple of months for that fight to do. And how to go after a guy who hasn't fought in almost a year. What you do, you tack him to the body. And he done that. He went out there and executed that plan very well. It's been rumored that as of right now, Bradley is also in the mix of getting that fight with Manny Pacquiao.
Which I would enjoy thoroughly.
Exactly.
Because maybe he didn't win that first fight, but he won that second fight. He got screwed. Because
Right.
the judges felt like they needed to.
Poetic justice. Call it what it is.
Ain't no justice.
Right. And so it's been rumored that he's in line with Terrence Crawford as well. Now, we both agree that Manny Pacquiao, on his way out, should not want any parts of the Terrence Crawford.
See, you know what Terrence Crawford does when he looks across the ring?
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
Exactly what he's, as Dijon, the guy who got the snot kicked out of him last week. Anyway, it was a great fight. Once again, listen to the show, you know that we are big boxing fans, and we cannot wait because Brian and I have a good little old bet going about Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez.
Should be interesting.
It's very interesting because I got Miguel Cotto winning this fight, and supposedly the winner of the Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez fight is supposed to have a front row seat to facing the one and only, the monster from the other pond, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. I don't think any one of them want no parts of Triple G.
You shouldn't.
After Triple G's last fight, honestly, you should want Marvin Hagler or somebody to come back to face a Triple G.
Not all that, but Triple G is definitely very good.
Triple G is a well-rounded guy, and once again, it was great weekend in fighting.
Triple G, the best boxer of this generation right now. After Floyd Mayweather.
Okay, yeah.
After
right.
Floyd Mayweather retired. Number one right now. You know, you got Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
You got the flyweight.
Right. Yeah, I know you're talking about Chocolatito.
Yes.
Roman Gonzalez.
Roman Gonzalez. Triple G has an edge, number one.
Yes. Pound for pound right now. right now, I mean, in my opinion, pound for pound, I think we both agree. But
Yeah.
I think in Ring Magazine they have Chocolatito pound for pound right now, which don't understand that one, but okay.
I like what Golovkin said in the last fight when Max Kellerman asked him,
Yeah.
"Who do you think the number one?" He said it's vacant right now. It's time for someone to prove that they're number one. I think Triple G actually did that last fight.
Right.
Maybe he'll come out next fight, try to prove it some more.
Most definitely.
But it's that time.
Really though. Really though. Really though. Really though.
It's time for someone to get it. Get it worse than Lemieux. Got it from Triple G.
Most definitely. Worse than Bradley gave it to Rios. Body shots. They hurt.
Things in sports. Like you say, really though? Who do you want to go first?
I got this one. I'm gonna keep it real short. Mine is on former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. You just knew I was gonna come at Donovan McNabb because I can't stand nothing Philly.
As we go into the world of the haters.
Yeah, well, it looked like the jail was gonna be the hater. Now, let me add, Donovan McNabb was working with Fox Sports. You know what I'm saying? As an analyst and doing this thing. But one of the things I always looked at Donovan McNabb for is, he was always one of those condescending guys, a lot like Mark Schlereth on ESPN. He's always kind of got his nose up. Guys shouldn't do this and guys shouldn't do that. They should look to be more like me. No, not them. The whole world should look to be more like me.
All right, you're going a little excessive there.
Yeah, well, you get my point. But just so happened that Donovan McNabb, who was arrested back in June for a DUI, has been convicted, sentenced to 18 days in jail. Now, not only did he have to do 18 days in jail, he has to do 72 days in a home detention after jail, 30 hours of community service, counseling after home detention, unsupervised probation until he completes the sentence, ordered to pay over $6,000 in fines. Yeah, we supposed to be the guy we supposed to live like, right? Like, we just supposed to go and follow the Donovan McNabb, Mark Schlereth way. Really though?
Time for me to go. I don't have anything to say bad about Donovan McNabb. I like Donovan McNabb. Mine goes to University of Texas recruiting staff / Mac Brown.
Not again.
Recently, someone talked to Corey Coleman. Don't know who that is. He's a wide receiver for Baylor. He's a senior. Mm-hmm. He's being listed as a Heisman candidate by some.
Right.
It has recently come out that Coleman was told by a Longhorns assistant that a scholarship offer was coming soon, but it never came.
Just left him waiting.
So he went to Baylor. The only reason Texas is getting really dope for this is because this may or may not have happened before.
Charlie Strong.
What happened with Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston wanted to go to Texas, but couldn't even get a phone call.
Left them a message. This guy right here left them a message. And in the words of Mac Brown said, what? Well, after talking to some people from out the other way, we felt like with Auburn and Alabama and the other schools over there, we wouldn't have had a chance to get him. And I still doom him every day for those remarks. You are the University of Texas, a historic program. Why wouldn't you be able to get him? You should be able to get any player. I don't care if that player's from Timbuktu. You should think that you could get any and everybody. Why? Because you are Texas. You have a right to be arrogant like that.
Really though?
Yes, really.
So you have one Heisman winner. Now you have a Heisman candidate that were willing to come to your school. All you had to do was offer.
And might we add, this is before Charlie Strong program, because as you said, he is a senior now. He's a senior. Think about it. Mac Brown and company sleep at the wheel
Again.
and everybody blame Charlie Strong for this putrid leftover team from Mac Brown. On the real, I really do. If Miami comes to, I'm gonna say this right now. Y'all can shoot me down, feel any way how you want to feel, write it down, take a picture. You know what comes after that. I hope Miami do offer Charlie Strong that coaching position, and I hope Charlie Strong take it. And I hope he turn the University of Miami, because we don't call them the U until they earn it right anymore on the show. I hope he goes down to the University of Miami and make that into a winning program.
I do too. And I hope one day they face Texas and dominate them. I like Texas. I hold it down for the state.
I do too, but then what they doing to Charlie Strong is downright wrong.
Texas, really though? Over here giving up Heisman candidates.
Yeah.
Great show today. NFL recap, college football recap, NBA, Greg Hardy, boxing, a little bit of tanking in there, and of course, University of Texas. And your boy Donovan McNabb getting it on the Really Though segment. Tomorrow, someone else is going to get Really Though. Probably going to rank some NFL teams, most likely. Not going to want to miss it right here on the Sports Machine.